So I hesitated in making this video because we often feel very triggered when we talk about toxic relationships. We may think of the obvious relationships like romantic, family, or even a toxic friend, but we don't often think of the toxic relationship that we might have with ourselves. It's often easier, at least for me, and more empowering if we begin at the beginning. That means defining what a toxic relationship can look like. It may not have all of the symptoms that I'm going to provide, but it's really not about that. It's about the pervasiveness or the intensity of that symptom. Warning: when you begin to define what a toxic relationship is, it will become more real in your life. Initially, you may begin to see that many of your relationships are toxic, and that can make you sad. But cheer up, you have now begun the path to repairing, decreasing, or even vacating some of your relationships. To solve a problem, you have to be aware it even exists. So, a common definition of a toxic relationship is a relationship that is emotionally, mentally, or physically damaging to one or both people involved. There are common signs of a toxic relationship, and I will name a few: lack of trust, control issues, constant criticism, emotional abuse, inequality, disrespect, chronic negativity, isolation, and physical abuse. If you feel unsure about any of the signs I've listed or want to elaborate on them, I urge you to look them up and do your own research. Get a personal definition. Please note that this list is not exhaustive. By facing toxic relationships head on, you signal to yourself that you are worth protecting. Working from this mindset yields volumes. I am surviving proof. Have you pinpointed the toxic relationship or relationships in your life? I would venture to say you believe toxicity was operating in your life, or you wouldn't have clicked into this video. Know that over time, these relationships can have an erosive effect on your well-being. Those effects often show up as a decrease in self-esteem and confidence, an increase in anxiety, stress, or depression. It also can show up with a difficulty in maintaining other relationships and a loss of sense of self or personal identity. Again, these effects are only to name a few, but it offers initial insight for removing some of the confusion surrounding those toxic relationships in your life. So if you identify that you are in one or several toxic relationships, here are some strategies to consider to both protect yourself and to get into a mindset that mitigates the effects and power toxicity can have in your life. 1. Recognize the signs. Be honest with yourself and about how that relationship makes you feel. 2. Set boundaries. Clearly communicate what is acceptable and unacceptable. 3. Seek support. Talk to trusted friends, family, or a therapist if needed for perspective and help. 4. Consider ending the relationship. If the relationship cannot change and continues to harm your well-being, leaving may be the healthiest option. And finally, focus on healing. Practice self-care and seek professional guidance if needed to rebuild your confidence and self-worth. Embracing these strategies or others that resonate more deeply with you is a powerful first step towards improving your relationship with yourself and an essential act of prioritizing your own well-being. We've explored the definition of toxic relationships and how they can manifest in our lives. We've examined the corrosive impact while uncovering strategies to prioritize and nurture our well-being. Now that you've been empowered with this knowledge, what will you do with it? You can build the relationships you desire by prioritizing your own well-being and embracing the truth of your self-worth. I'm speaking from having gone through so many toxic relationships in my life. As I look back now, I know that it in part was from my own codependency, a fundamental belief that others had the answer or held more importance in my life. I can admit those things now as the truth, and the truth has set me free.